Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 80. And today, I wanted to raise a concern that one of my patrons brought to my attention regarding the long-awaited time skip training of Boruto and Sasuke that we're seeing take place right now. My patron is worried that due to everything that has happened, Boruto's about to have two things happen to him that will make the time skip training much more different than we anticipated and will potentially lead to Boruto coming out of the time skip with a gap between himself and Kawaki being even larger than it already is. And one of the reasons they feel that this will be the case is the Shinjutsu that created the biggest plot twist in Boruto, where the lives of Boruto and Kawaki have been switched and the memories of everyone on Earth except for a select few have been altered, and their minds are actively being told to overlook any anomalies that they see that would make them normally question what they're seeing. My patron points out that had we gone into the time skip with Sasuke fully aware who Boruto is and with a level of comfort with him, Sasuke would be able to push all the right buttons while training him and would be able to get the most out of him. They say that because we have Sasuke always trying to actively not give in to his mind telling him that Boruto is the one who killed Naruto, they say this puts Boruto at a greater risk than normal and could lead to Sasuke harming Boruto during the time skip training, and they say that this will be the biggest problem for Boruto during the time skip. So while I can see a cause of concern for both points, I don't 100% agree here with this. Starting with the point about Sasuke accidentally harming Boruto while they're training, while it would be a good reversal of what we saw with Naruto and Jiraiya, where the student was the one who harmed the master by accident, and in this case it will be the teacher harming the student, I don't see Sasuke not having an emotional attachment to Boruto as being a bad thing. I actually see it as a good thing. It means that Boruto would get legitimate combat training from someone as strong as Sasuke. The lack of emotional attachment is what's going to allow Sasuke to do that. Does Sasuke know that his daughter believes Boruto is Naruto's son? Yes. Did Sasuke hear from Ada's own mouth what happened, which confirmed Boruto's story? Yes. However, despite all of this, we still had Sasuke using words like "if you are truly Naruto's son," which is a scary sign of how potent this Shinjutsu is. Even with all the evidence before him, Sasuke is still using words that don't confirm or deny Boruto being Naruto's son. They're the words of someone who's being cautious right now. That, in my opinion, is what can only be considered to be a good thing from a writing perspective, and here's why. Sasuke is normally cold and calculated in his approach to things. We've seen multiple times through many different mediums that when it comes to Boruto, Sasuke has always had a soft spot that prevented him from being as hard on Boruto as he would have been in normal circumstances had there been no attachment to the character. In Boruto the movie and in the Boruto movie novelization, we see Sasuke take a slightly distant approach to Boruto, telling him to master the Rasengan, and when he sees Boruto add a change in chakra nature to the Rasengan, he gives the young genius room to grow and learn through his mistakes instead of taking the teaching moment right there on the spot when he sees Boruto using a ninja tool and explaining what Boruto did the day prior by adding a chakra nature to the Rasengan and make him repeat the process so he can consciously understand how it was that he added a change in chakra nature to the Rasengan instead of just doing it off of muscle memory. We've seen that this approach is something that actually works with Boruto. It's the approach that Kakashi took with Boruto in the anime. He knew that Boruto was talented, but he still made him go back to the basics and repeat all the steps, and it led to Boruto making 3 different Rasengans under Kakashi. The Wind Rasengan, which is superior to Naruto's Wind Rasengan that Naruto first made, due to Boruto actually being able to throw it, whereas Naruto's Wind Rasengan was just a smaller version of the Rasengan with wind-style chakra blades around it, which ultimately is what led to Naruto making the Rasen Shuriken, which is a different jutsu than the Rin Rasengan itself. Boruto made the Compression Rasengan, which led to Kakashi stating it had killing power. Finally, we had Boruto make the Super Compression Rasengan, which compresses the chakra down to an absolute maximum. It was a slower training on the way that Kakashi did it, but it bore more fruit. In the Sasuke Shin student teacher star pupil story, which we've covered here on the channel from start to finish. Sasuke starts out training Boruto and Team 7 with a jutsu that requires such an extreme chakra control. We see them cussing up a storm and falling over in exhaustion from trying to attempt to master it, and the chakra control exercises to learn the jutsu and steps are so outrageous that Team 7 had a hard time with it. When Boruto throws a fit over the complexity of the jutsu and the fact that it's a jutsu that the ninja tech department helped Sasuke create, Sasuke doesn't hold Boruto's feet to the fire and doesn't make him continue on. He goes soft on Boruto and he allows Boruto to train on his own, in his own way, and not see through the training that Sasuke gave him, despite Sasuke wanting to teach him something that Boruto could actually apply to other jutsu and to Boruto's own fighting style and methods. Sasuke then goes on to confirm in the anime and his private conversation with Naruto that he wasn't able to kill Boruto despite it being something he was capable of doing because he's grown too attached to him. He couldn't bring himself to actually strike down his student. His emotions get in the way when it comes to dealing with Boruto, and the more we see them spend time together, the more that becomes the case. Even in the anime original arc that was the prologue for the Code arc, Sasuke gave Boruto more slack than he would have if, say, this was another student who happened to be the son of his best friend. What we currently have here with these two is exactly what Kishimoto originally wanted for Boruto and Sasuke, which is to have a student and teacher relationship that mirrored Gohan and Piccolo from Dragon Ball. When you look at it, Piccolo very early on had no attachment to Gohan. He just saw the need to fight monsters by training his own monster. It was over time that Piccolo became changed by Gohan and you saw the cracks in the armor begin to appear, but it was after Piccolo had already taken that hard stance with Gohan that set him down the path to eventually end the Dragon Ball manga as the strongest non-fused fighter. Sasuke has a chance to do that with Boruto. He's not going to pull all the same punches with Boruto's training that he might have otherwise pulled. The combat training is going to be literal combat. Iron sharpens iron, and that's what Boruto needs the most. Kakashi showed us Boruto thrives when he's truly challenged and pushed. Even when it came to learning to use the Karma, he made the most inroads when Kawaki was pushing him. For a genius who is able to do things so easily to a point where there are times he doesn't truly understand how he actually did something, that adversity is something that will push him to another level. Sasuke can try to suppress the effects of the Shinjutsu all he wants, but there could come a time that during that training where the frustration of the situation does come out a bit and he's able to restrain himself due to Sarada. On the other hand, I do think Boruto stands a risk of coming out the time skip less skilled than Kawaki, less powerful than Kawaki, and there being a big gap there. However, I don't think this is going to be because Sasuke isn't able to train Boruto to his fullest and has to waste time training Boruto by going over things that Boruto already knows in order to establish something he's already capable of doing. I think Sasuke is smart enough to see Boruto make a Rasengan and know that even though his mind's telling him that Boruto isn't Naruto's son, because his mind's been altered, he should still be able to operate under the assumption of everything he thinks that Kawaki can do, since he thinks Kawaki's actually a student, is actually all the stuff that Boruto can do, and just move on from there with that premise. I don't think it's going to be that complicated. However, I do think the reason Kawaki ends up being ahead of Boruto in terms of skill is going to come down to the narrative. It's not the sexiest answer. It's not some super big brain equation saying carry the 2 and multiply by 3 to get destructive output to see how many gigatons of force both characters produce and how many more times faster than lightning they become. I'm strictly looking at it from a writing perspective. Kawaki coming out being significantly stronger than Boruto continues to give Boruto an obstacle to overcome. After we see Boruto collect a few W's to showcase how much stronger he's got during this time, those W's help establish how much stronger Kawaki has gotten, and it makes for a very delayed payoff. Hard times make strong men is a quote that has stood the test of time for a reason. Boruto right now is having to endure and overcome. It doesn't make for the best narrative payoff for Boruto to pop up out the time skip and be as strong as Kawaki or strong enough to beat him down while eating a Thunder Burger and tell him, hey, unseal my parents and prove my innocence. You have to get to a point where all those things feel earned, which means Kawaki has to feel that much like a bigger threat to overcome. To use a Star Wars comparison and a Naruto Naruto comparison. In Star Wars, if Luke Skywalker defeats Vader in Empire Strikes Back, it doesn't hit the same as it does when you get to Return to the Jedi. To use the Naruto comparison, if Naruto in the Tenchi Bridge arc is strong enough to bring Sasuke back to the village and defeat Orochimaru and Kabuto, it doesn't hit the same as it does to see Naruto fail to catch up to Sasuke, or just when he thinks he's caught up to him, or we get narrative statements saying that he's surpassed him, only to see Sasuke pull out even further ahead of him. We've got to let this story stay in the oven and cook for a little bit. I think people have let the memes of Jiraiya was a bad teacher, which I'm going to do a whole video explaining why I don't think that's the case. I think people have let those memes absolutely get in their head and potentially damage how strong they think Boruto's going to be coming out the time skip. Sasuke right now doesn't have the same problems and same handicaps that Jiraiya had with Naruto. Boruto is ready to be molded and groomed into being a shinobi who can take down Kawaki. I'm not expecting him to come out the time skip as someone like Kakashi who knows 1,000 jutsu, but I'm not ringing the alarm that he has an underwhelming time skip either. I think fans have waited so long for this one moment to happen that expectations might be a little too high for what post time skip Boruto adds to his ninjutsu arsenal. If he comes out a more refined shinobi and a master of swordsmanship and better understanding of how to properly use karma, I think that's a W. That's remarkable progress there. I know some of you guys might disagree, but hopefully that doesn't stop you from checking out my top 25 strongest Demon Slayer characters video.